Oh, the GameLeap is made. Here we go, guys. It's time for the tier list for 12-13. We're going to be going through the 5 roles, of course, so to know who the best champions, who the worst champs are going to be for the next 2 weeks, make sure you stick around for the whole video. But just before we get into the tier list, guys, this video is sponsored by Outplayed, the ultimate video capturing app for gamers like us. So while playing, the Outplayed app is going to automatically capture your best moments and biggest plays on the Rift. And you can also manually record with a simple hotkey. Now, once your match is over, you can scroll through your clips, you can select the ones you want to show the world, share them with your friends on Discord and YouTube, and there's also a really easy to use video editor so you can edit those clips so they look super clean for your champion main subreddit to watch and admire. And even if you're not playing League, the Outplayed application supports over 300 games. So if you want an easy to use challenger application to record your games, to record your highlights, Outplayed is definitely it. Check out those links in the description down below. So let's jump into the top lane tier list to start the video, guys. And in the most broken tier, we have Darius, Garen, Gnar, and Jax. These 4 champions getting picked so much and have the best win rates across all elos. These tier lists are taking into account every single rank, so it's not specific for high elo or low elo. This is generally speaking. So Darius, because of the durability meta, the extended fights, kind of similar to Garen with his true damage as well. Gnar also loves a beefier meta, especially when there's more tanks in the top lane, because he destroys them in lane and will be even more useful than them in team fights because of his Mega Gnar. And Jax, well, the new Divine Sunderer is going to be good for Jax up until a certain point because you'll be dealing more damage to squishy champions, and at that mythic spike in a game, champions won't have the HP to really make Divine Sunderer a nerf, and even if you do need the tank shred, you can kind of bypass it by getting a Blade of the Ruined King. Now, as far as the champions who are getting buffed and nerfed in 12-13 relative to the top lane, first of all, we have Renekton, who's getting 10% bonus AD ratio in his ultimate. That's going to help your scaling, but the issue for Renekton is, well, you're probably still not going to have enough scaling in this durability late game meta. So he might be a little bit better, which is why he's gone from C tier to B tier, but still not the most amazing champion. Now, we also have Kled, who's getting a buff, and that's why he's staying in a semi-respectable B tier, so the extra AD ratio in your Q and also your W's cooldown going down, these are actually really nice buffs, but Kled is just bettered by every other top laner above him in this tier list. Now, we also have Olaf, who's actually getting buffed for the jungle, but for top lane Olaf, these will actually just be nerfs. So even though you're getting more attack speed from your passive when you get low, you're actually getting less health regen, and your Q's mana cost is going to be higher. So when you're playing top lane Olaf with no blue buff, you're going to run out of mana quicker, you're not going to regen as much HP, and because in the top lane right now there's a lot of sustain, Olaf is going to struggle more, but he'll still boast a lot of the early game power, which is why he's only gone down to A tier. Now, as far as other champions who are getting changed, well, we have Volibear, who's getting some big nerfs. So your W's base damage, this is going down, and because you max this first, this is definitely going to affect the champion. This is why he's gone down to B tier, but not only that, your E's damage, this is getting nerfed in terms of the max health damage. And one more champion who's getting some very interesting changes is Gwen, who is in low-key broken. And the reason for this is really because of the 65% refund you're going to get on your E. So when you auto attack shortly after, 65% of the cooldown is getting refunded. This is 15% higher, and yes, it might be scaling from 25% to 65%. So for the first few levels, it's definitely not going to be that great, but you're picking Gwen for the late game anyway. You're not picking her to win level 1 or level 2, even though she is kind of good into some champions. So that change is really nice. And also the fact that you're getting an extra 25 range on that is huge as well. Your ultimate will be dealing more damage too. Your abilities will be scaling more of your AP. So I think Gwen is going to be very popular in 12-13 and low-key broken. So that was the top lane tier list for 12-13, and we will elaborate on the low-key broken champions we have in this tier list in a future vid. Now, moving to the mid lane, in terms of most broken, guys, we have Kassadin, Swain, Victor, Yone. What do these champions have in common? We'll just look at them. Scaling. So a level 16 Kassadin, a level 16 Swain, a Victor with all of his upgrades, a Yone with a 1.33 Q second cooldown, and all of that DPS and healing impossible to kill. These champions are the cream of the crop. Now, as far as the champions go who are getting changed in 12-13, well, first up, we have Taliyah. So your Q's damage is going up in terms of the base, and you'll be maxing this first. Nice for your damage against the enemy champion, but also for your wave clear. And the Q mana cost, this is also going down by 5 at each rank. And there's also a nice quality of life buff where your ultimate is no longer going to go on cooldown when you damage wards or traps. So also a nice buff. So Taliyah, because of all of this, is in low-key broken. Now we also have Galio, so your Q, the actual percentage damage, this is up by 0.5%, and it's also going to scale more off every 100 AP you have. But to be honest, Galio still won't be that amazing, which is why he's staying in B tier. But a champion who is going to relish the buffs in 12-13, well, this is Vex, because your Q's cooldown is going down by a full 1 second. This is huge. So at level 9, this is going to be on a 4-second cooldown. Pretty nutty, right? So your wave clear, your damage, this is a very nice buff. And also your Q's AP ratio is going up 10%. So the more AP you have, of course, in the mid to late game, you're going to deal a lot more damage for each each major item you get. These are huge buffs to Vex because she is struggling at the moment in a durability meta, but these are certainly going to bring her back, especially in matchups where Vex does really well, so that's why she's in low-key broken. And the only nerf champion we have to talk about for 12-13 in the mid lane is Corki. So your E's AD ratio, this is actually getting increased, but your ultimate's damage, the base damage, this is going down, and it's scaling much less off your AP. It's scaling off the same AD, so Ryder trying to maybe make you go Shield Bow and not Luden's Tempest and Hydra and that Mirror Mana build, but it's not only that, because your Q's movement speed is down by 2% at each rank, the base damage is also down by 10 at each rank, and the W's bonus HP ratio, this is down by 1% as well. And Corki is copying these nerfs just because he's getting picked again in pro play. Riot don't want to see him picked and banned all the time because we've seen a lot of Corki in the past. So let's head to the jungle tier list, and the four most broken champions. We have Bel'Veth still, despite the nerfs that came in, still an insane champion. We have Kayn, whether you're going blue Kayn or red Kayn. We have Master Yi and Trundle. Now speaking of Master Yi, that's a champion we need to talk about because there are some very red hot changes in 12-13, and the two I really want to talk about here, your attack range, your auto attack range going up by 50 from 125 to 175, and when Bel'Veth got this, she completely dumpstered every single elo, by far the best champion in the game. So this is a massive buff for Yi. And the other one I want to draw your attention to is the fact that your Alpha Strike, you can actually choose the direction you want to appear at relative to the target you're queuing. And that's one of the most broken buffs I've heard in ages, because the counterplay to Yi's Q is knowing that he'll end up behind the target he's queuing. Now that Yi can actually choose where he ends up, it makes it impossible to peel the champion he's jumping on. So because of these changes, Master Yi has moved up to most broken. Now because of the Olaf jungle changes, he's in low-key broken. Because the passive buff, this means you're going to clear quicker, because when you get lower, you get more attack speed, and also when you're 1v1ing the enemy jungler or skirmishing or ganking, it's going to be super broken in the early game. And we also have a lot of other junglers getting buffed. So for Elise, your base HP is going up, your health growth is going up, your armor is going up, your human Q's base damage is going up as well, the more points you have in it, and you will be maxing this first. These are really nice changes, and that's why Elise is in low-key broken, with Night Harvester 2, the item getting buffed a couple of patches ago. These will definitely give Elise more power. Just like Fiddlesticks, so your Q's for duration, this is increasing, and your ultimate's total damage is not only scaling more off your AP, but the base damage is going up as well. These are super nice changes for Fiddle, and like Elise, that's why he's in low-key broken. Now, a champion who was kind of pushing her way into low-key broken, but I've decided to put her in A tier, this is Evelynn. So the fact you're getting more healing from your passive, but you're also getting more magic resistance shred from your W. This is a big change because at the moment, with the new magic resist in the game from the durability 12-10 patch, and because champions are just generally tankier, this is going to help you shred those targets and kill them. Now there is one change here, so your ultimate, it now sets your passive where you go invis on just over a 1 second cooldown, so this might mean you might die a couple more times, but nothing really to worry about there. So Evelynn, big improvement, going from B tier to A tier. Now we also have Karthus who's getting buffed, so your armor up by 3 to 21, and your health growth is also up. This means you're going to be tankier and less exploitable in the early game. But Karthus is probably still going to struggle because his burst damage, so to speak, well, he just gets out-sustained. During fights in the early game, he doesn't have enough power to combat all of the other junglers above him in this tier list. That's why he's staying in B tier. And because of the Volibear nerfs we talked about, guys, to your W and your E, and also the fact that your E's damage cap against non-champions, so monsters and jungle camps, this is going down to 650. So your clear is going to be affected, your damage is affected, and this means that your skirmishing, your ganks, less kills, probably more deaths as a result. Volibear has dropped significantly down to B tier. Now, as far as the AD carry meta goes, well, not many AD carries are getting changed in 12-13. So in most broken, we still have Kalista and Twitch, but we also have Draven in here and Samira. Now, the reason Draven is in here is because all of those lethality mythics are getting more movement speed for each major item you have via the mythic passive. Now, if you do go Eclipse, okay, the range damage proc, well, this is actually nerfed from 6% max HP to 3%. But more movement speed for an AD carry like Draven with your W going to be very difficult to deal with, especially in the mid to late game once you get more of it. And Samira for 12-13, she has moved her way into most broken, and the reason for this is because Samira, with the new scaling in her attack damage per level, in her Q scaling as well, she deals way too much damage, and once you get the lifesteal in your kit from Shield Bow, you heal it up like nothing else. And she's actually got some of the highest win rates across all elos as well, so watch out for her in 12-13. And the only other AD carry to really talk about in terms of getting changed from 12-12B, this is Sivir. So the new changes coming in, it's going to be super interesting to see how your new abilities work, especially because they're now scaling and working from attack speed and critical strike charts. So it will be interesting to see Sivir in the new meta, but I'm anticipating her to be low-key broken. Any Sivir mains, any AD carry mains, let me know what you think of the changes and how Sivir is going to be affected next patch. And of course, guys, the last role we have to cover for 12-13 in terms of the tier list, this is the support role. So most broken, we have Amumu, Renata, Senna, and Seraphine. Is anyone going to complain about these champions being a most broken? Amumu because of the Q buff to his mana, this is huge. Renata, just innately so good. Same with Senna, and Seraphine because of that E buff. I mean, I know she got nerfed last patch, it was kind kind of like a semi-revert, but it's still a buff overall, right? It's gone from 1 second to 1.25 seconds, so because she has more CC and utility these days, great champion to pick in this durability meta. And as far as the rest of this tier list go, well, we have Morgana and low-key broken because of her synergy with Leandra's Anguish, but apart from that, guys, nothing is really changing too much. Yuumi has dropped from S tier to A tier because of the E nerf a couple of patches ago. It's actually affected her more than I thought, but elsewhere, engagers still really aren't the best champions. Tahm Kench is in C tier, you might be surprised by that, but that's because I want you to play him as an AD carry with a center support or take him to the top lane, much better in those roles. And that's also the same for Ashe and Miss Fortune. These might look nice and they are fun, I guess, to play, but much better as AD carries. So those were the tier list, guys, for 12-13. Check out the GameLeap website, description, comment section to master any of the champions and roles we talked about. And of course, if you do want us to continue with the tier list videos, make sure you leave a like on the video, and any thoughts on the tier list, leave them in the comment section. This has been Coach Cheese, and until tomorrow's daily Season 12 upload, peace.